Hello everyone, this is Devlogerio. In this video I'm going to teach you how to bring everything to the server side so people can see each other in the game. It's gonna be a multiplayer game after this video. So let's go. Alright, like always I'm gonna start from the episode number 10 and I named it episode number 11. I'm gonna open that. I gotta go to the server and server.js. I'm also going to open the sketch.js as well. So double click both of them so you have them both. Alright, this is what we have so far on the server side. This is absolutely nothing. We just have a server listen function which just starts the server, and then we have an io.on connection which is socket.io pre-made socket.on. So whenever somebody connects to the server, this function will be called, and after that it's on our hand. Now I go to the sketch.js, and what do we have here in the setup? We have a socket emit and socket.on message from server. We don't need those two, so I'm gonna set it free. Okay, some other thing that we are going to do here is that everything that we have about the player class, like this, I'm gonna copy it all. I'm gonna copy it and go to the server side, and under here we're gonna paste it here. So I just paste the player function to the player object to the server side as well. In the next video I will teach you some other ways of creating objects in the Node.js, but for now that should work. Some things should be changed, like get mouse force, we don't need that. Add force, we don't need that. Oh yeah, these we need. Add force, zero acceleration, update. Yeah, we need them all. But draw is what we don't need. I'm gonna get rid of that as well. Alright, now whatever we have here, because there is nothing called P5js on the server side, so P5js doesn't work on the server side, we have to bring in some new function, some new library that does the same thing for us. So basically we are going to work with vectors, working with 2D vectors. That's why I am going to use a new library called Victor.js. So we go ahead and say npm install Victor. Wait for it to install. Alright, Victor is installed now. I'm gonna go up here. After here, I'm gonna add another one. I'm gonna add another require, because we added a new library. That is why I'm gonna call it Victor. And I'm gonna say, okay, this is Victor. I'm gonna start it like that. Alright. This library is gonna be it's gonna be responsible for working with 2D vectors, just like what we do in P5js, because location, force, acceleration, and speed, these are all vectors, but they won't work on the server side because we don't have P5js on the server side. That's why we have to change them. So now instead of create vector, we're gonna have something else called new Victor with the x and y. This is how we create a new vector using the Victor library. I'm gonna do the same for the force. Our force is 0, 0. I'm gonna copy the same for the acceleration. Basically for all of them. Yeah. Now a new problem pops up, and that problem is gonna be this. So we set the force to the amount that we get, and we do nothing. We add it here. This should be divided by mass. So this should be divided by mass. Yeah, but not like that. Okay, we're gonna use the Victor.js way of adding and dividing. So I'm gonna go to the Victor.js website, Victor.js. There we go. And then we have something called divide. Alright, we have vector number 1 divided by vector number 2. That is not something we want, actually. But yeah, it's gonna work. So what we have to do here is create a new Victor with the same amount. Alright. I'm gonna divide the amount of force by the mass. How do we do that? I'm gonna say dot divide, because amount of force that I'm gonna go here dot divide another vector, new vector, mass and mass. So I created a vector using the mass, and I'm dividing the force by that vector. That's it. Now we go to the acceleration. We don't have anything called add in the in Victor.js. Maybe we have. Let's go ahead and check. So yeah, we have add, but how it works? Add a vector with another vector. Alright, that's working as well. So we are adding the adding force to the acceleration. That works, but let's see. Dot add, yeah, that works. Now we go to the next one. Limit is something we don't have. Limiting the magnitude means setting the magnitude to something specific. So the length of vector will not get more than some number, and that is the max acceleration. We don't have the limit function in the P5 in the Victor.js. Actually, we have, but if you search for limit, we have it, but it's not working the way that it works in P5js. So we are basically going to limit the magnitude of the vector, not limiting it, not multiplying it by some number if it gets more than the max. That is what we are going to do here. So I'm going to create a new function, limit vector. It's gonna take a vector and a max, and I'm going to say var_vec is equal to v. So I'm getting the parameter and assign it to a variable. Now here, this is the formula for limiting the vector. If you're wondering where is it coming from, it's coming from here. You can search how to limit vector magnitude. Stack Overflow, I took it from here for you. You go here, somebody answered, and this is the way it works. This is the way, so you're not even changing the magnitude. To make vector with the same direction, but change magnitude, just multiply components by ratio of magnitudes. That's it. Alright, so this is v and the max. Whoop. And the max. So what is this? This is going to be the vector length. Yeah. Var length is equal to v dot mag. I go to here, search for mag. No, it's gotta be magnitude or length. Magnitude or length. Magnitude. And yeah, I divide it by that. This is going to work. And then in the end, I'm going to return the vector. This is the function for limiting any vector that we give it. I'm going to copy it, go up here. So this dot acceleration is going to be, let me think more about it. New magnitude. Y max acceleration. Oh yeah, it is right. It's going to be this dot acceleration. Oh, it is going to be limit vector. This dot acceleration. Okay, this works. So we're giving it the acceleration, and we are giving it the max acceleration. The function we created is going to be this vector by this magnitude and set it on top of this dot acceleration. It's going to be simple. Speed up is gonna be the same thing, so I'm gonna copy this thing. I'm gonna say, okay, this dot speed, this dot speed, and this dot max speed. This is for the speed up. Alright. And then for the move, it's working fine. We will know that. If it doesn't work, we will know. And this dot zero acceleration is gonna be new Victor 0, 0 in the acceleration. And this is nothing special except this line. We don't have this line anymore. I'm going to comment it for now, and after that we have the limit vector outside here. Alright, do we return this? Yes, we do. Okay, what do we need on the server side now in the player object? I'm going to add something else called ID. This dot ID is equal to the ID we give it, so we're going to have an ID as well. That's gonna be fine. Alright, player object is somehow ready for now, and we are about to use it. I'm gonna go back to the sketch. Whenever somebody connects to the server, the setup function will happen, and I'm not going to create a local player anymore, so I'm going to delete it. I'm going to delete the player number 1 as well, and I'm going to delete these two as well. Maybe I comment it so we can change it in future. Okay. Now in the setup, I'm gonna say, once you're connected, start listening to a line called your information. Or no, your ID. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for the ID, and it's gonna take the function, and that function gets the data and do something on top of that data. This function, because the function is one of the parameters or one of the arguments, you can say that this is a callback. This is how we create a callback. The first one is a parameter and the second one is a callback. Alright, what do we do with the data? Data is gonna contain some ID. So I'm going to, on top, I'm gonna create a var my ID. So from now, wherever in the code I am, I'm gonna keep track of the ID we have. And here I'm going to say my ID is equal to the data.id. So server is going to send the ID to the client side. But before that, I'm gonna say socket.emit I'm ready, and I'm gonna send some data. I'm gonna say name Devlogario, just like that. I'm gonna send my name and I'm gonna say, alright, I am ready to the server. Now I go to the server side. After the connection happens, oh my god, sorry. After the connection happens, I'm gonna say, okay, socket.on we're going to listening to I'm ready. So whenever the player was ready, we're going to say, alright, I'm gonna do some function. We are on the server side, we're gonna use this. This is somehow same as saying, alright, a function. Alright, this is somehow equal to this, alright? Almost zero difference for our work. So I'm gonna make a callback here. Hold on. Do you have my okay, seems what should I do? Am I in the center? Oh, okay. Whenever I'm ready happens, get the data and do some callback on it. What we are basically going to do is to, on top of here in the global variables, I am going to add another variable called var players, because all the players are going to be saved here, and it is going to be an empty array. Whenever somebody is ready, I'm gonna say, alright, players.push new players.push a player. No, yeah, I'm gonna say this player. I'm gonna create a new player, yeah, just like what we did here. If you look at this, you will remember. Can you see that new player? We're gonna do that. I'm gonna say new player with the it's gonna take an ID. I am going to give it the socket.id. So socket is basically having every time somebody connects, socket will automatically give it an ID. We're using the same ID as the player ID as well, but we can also use math.random, so they are not different. We can use the math.random, but socket ID is much better. It's gonna be unique. So basically we create a player with the ID and the data.name, because the data is coming from the client side. Let's go ahead and check. Yeah, whenever we say I'm ready, we send an object, and in that object we have a property called name, which is a Devlogario. And on the server side, we get that data and we access to the name property. And the x and y for now is gonna be 0, 0 for now. And once we created the player completely, we're gonna give the player its ID. How? We're gonna say socket.emit your ID, and this is going to be a simple object with the socket with the, I'm sorry, ID socket.id. Alright, now I want to do a better thing here because later on we use it a lot. I'm going to create a var player. It's a local player inside the io.on connection, and I'm going to say, alright, player is equal to new player, and then I'm gonna push the player to the players, and then I'm going to send the player ID. This way it's looked a lot cleaner, and later on it's gonna help us more and more. And on the client side, once we hear our ID, we are going to, oh okay, and that's our ID. One more thing we have to do, but before I do that, I'm gonna go to the socket.io cheat sheet. This is going to be to help you a lot during your IO game making because we need them. And I am going to use the io.emit. io.emit. What does it do? It says sending to all connected clients. Yeah, that is something we want. We are going to tell everybody that we are connected. We also had something else. io.broadcast, sending to all clients except sender. That's gonna work as well. Okay, which one are we going to use? I guess both of them is good. Both of them is gonna be good. I'm gonna use this one. Socket.broadcast.emit. What does it do? It sends to all clients except who sends it. Alright, I'm gonna go to server side. Whenever somebody connects, I'm going to tell everybody on the server that this guy is connected. I'm gonna say, okay, new player, and I'm gonna send the player, new player. I'm gonna send an empty array, an empty object for now. I am going to also, oh yeah, whenever I'm sending your ID, I'm not going to send his ID. Instead of this, why not sending an io.emit, and we call it new player, and then we send the ID of that new player to everyone. No, it's not going to work. This is the best way. This is the best way we can do. We send the ID of the guy to himself, and we io.emit the new player to everyone in the server. Alright, this is better. So we are telling everybody in the server, alright, that a new player is connected, and we are going to send an object to everybody on the client side. What should we do? For sending an object, we have to basically send a little bit of information about the player who is connected. So I'm going to add a new method here. I'm gonna say this dot get init pack, which is a function. And this get init pack, what does it do is it basically returns an object that contains the ID, this.id, contains the name, this.name, and contains the x and y. This dot location is equal to an object. This dot location dot x. This dot location dot y, and this is the location. We are going to send the location. Why not? Why I haven't sent the location directly? Why I didn't send the location directly? Because we cannot send the Victor.js to the P5js, to the client side. We can't do that. Let's see what that is. Why are we getting this error? Maybe this has problem. Oh yeah, this doesn't work like that, because we're inside a function and two objects. That's what I guess. So I'm gonna send it individually. For now, I will find a solution for it. Okay. Get in it. I'm going to go here. We say, instead of this, we say player.getInInFact. Alright, it's going to get the information of the player who's connected, and it will send it to the client side. On the client side now, we have your ID, which is working great, and we are going to have another one calling new player. And this new player is going to be, let me make it cleaner, is going to be, once it receives it, it's gonna say, alright, we are going to have a global variable players here as well, and this players is going to be an empty array too. And once we receive the data of a new player, I am going to say players.push new player, what? New player with data.id, data.x, data.y, and data.name. Yeah, let's go ahead and check. We have the ID, name, x and y. Alright, ID, name, x and y. Now the player object should get an ID as well, which is ID, just like that. That should work. That should work. So now we know who is connected. Alright, I'm gonna test the game right now. We have done a lot, I know. But we need to test it. It will not move. It will do nothing. But we can test it out. But before that, we have to draw the player so we can know if the player is exists or not. So I'm gonna say for var I in players, I'm gonna do the same same thing of these two. Instead of player number 1, we have the player I. So we draw every player that is in the players. I'm gonna start the server. I'm gonna go to the local host. We don't need the others. I'm gonna go to the local host 2000. We see nothing because we might have an error. Player num is not defined. Okay, maybe. Let's find out where that is. That is nothing. line 34. Line 34. Yes, of course that is not defined. So before this, I'm going to translate to the player location first. So here I say if data.id is equal to, I am going to add this up here. So I create a new player. I create a local player with this information, and I push it to the players. I've done nothing. I just took this out and opened it here, and then whenever somebody new connects, we check if the ID of that new guy is equal to our own ID. So my ID. What do we do? I'm going to say, okay, I have another one, my player. My ID and my player. My player is an empty object. I'm going to say my player is equal to player as well. I'm gonna save it up there, so whenever I want, I can access it. Now, there is a mosquito here. Right? Mosquito. And now on line 34, line 40 actually, we're going to use my player instead of that local file. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna save, I'm gonna refresh. We have errors again. Cannot read the property x line 40. Yes, of course we can. I'm gonna say if myPlayer.x exists, if myPlayer.id is equal to my ID, if it works, and by default myPlayer.id nothing, it's a zero thing. Alright, I'm gonna, doesn't have to do anything with server, but I just start and stop it, start and start it. Refresh. Yeah, it's working. It is working actually. But I wonder, how is it moving toward the location of my mouse? No one knows. How? Because we have the acceleration add force and stuff on it. And if a new player connects, we are not going to see it. Maybe we can. Yeah, can you see that? Whenever a new player connects, I'm going to duplicate it. Some new guy is added, but see, if I duplicate, you see, the first one can see the others. Well, only the first one can see others. Alright, we're gonna fix that as well, but now we are seeing everyone. And one other problem that needs to be fixed is the player input, which is happening for all the players. That should not happen. We're gonna fix that now. Okay, what we should do here is whenever a new player connects, we should handle the disconnection and other players as well. Alright, I'm gonna go here. Whenever a new player connects, we tell everyone that, alright, a new player is connected, but always, the first player is always going to know everything about other players, but the other players will not. Because every player will tell other players that a new guy is connected. We push it to the server. Yes. So we emit everybody about that new player. And we also have to say we also have to get the init pack of all players and send it to that specific player. How do we do that? I'm gonna say var, create a var called init pack, var pack. I'm gonna create a package which is an empty array, and then I'm gonna say for var I in players if players I dot id. I'm gonna copy this line so I don't have to write it again. Is not equal to player dot id because we already sent it. We say pack dot push the player id. The player I dot get init pack. And after the pack is ready, I'm going to say socket dot emit init pack, and the init pack. I'm sending the array init pack. Let's see what we're doing. We send the ID of the player. We tell everyone that a new player is connected. Okay, we can make it easier. We can say socket.broadcast.emit new player, and we get the init pack of that player. And here we don't need to check it again. Simple. And we send it. Now on the client side, so we create a pack about all the online players. We tell, first of all, we tell everybody on the server, okay, that new guy is connected and this is the information, and except the owner of this player. We send everybody this information except the owner of this player. But what we send to the owner of the player who is just connected, we send a pack containing everything about every player on the server, including himself or herself. We send it and we call it init pack. On the client side, we no longer do this here. I'm gonna create another socket.on. This one is going to be init pack, and this one is gonna get the data. This data, notice that the data should be called, yeah, because we always send objects. It is going to be a habit for us. It's better to send an object always, so we know what's coming from the server. It's always going to be an object function. Oh yeah, we have it. I'm gonna loop through var I in data.initPack. I'm gonna loop through the init pack coming from the server. Let's see, was it init pack? It was pack. So why not call it init pack? It's gonna be better. Yeah. Init pack. We are going to send the init pack. Yeah. And we loop through the data.initPack. If the ID was equal to my ID, we set the player. Otherwise, what did we do? Before we do that, what we do? We create a new player, basically. We create a new player and we add it and we push it to the players. It's gonna be fair enough. I'm gonna save. I'm gonna go back here. Alright, we have some problem. I see. I'm gonna stop and start the server. Yeah, stop the server and start it again. I'm gonna refresh. I see nothing. There is going to be a little bit of problem. Let's see. Server, we send an init pack about every player. Get init pack, and we send it that player who just connected. Before that, we tell everybody else that a new player is connected. Once a new player is connected, we add it to the list of players. Once we get the init back, we look through the data.init pack, which is, oh yeah, we have a problem. The init pack is gonna be equal to the init pack. That was the problem, not the data. Otherwise, we had to say data.data. Yeah, that was the problem. I'm gonna stop and start the server again. Refresh. Yes, yes, we saw something. Ooh, can you see that? On top left, something is going, but the camera positioning is not working. If data, this is not going to be the data, it is going to be the player. Yeah, again, I'm gonna refresh. If player dot id is equal to my id, my player is equal to the player. I'm going to refresh again. I see it, but something else is not happening. What is not happening? This line, layer.id is equal to my id. And what do I do here? So instead of your id, I'm gonna send the whole information. Why not? Instead of saying your id, I'm gonna say your information, your init pack, just like that. And I'm gonna say your init pack. I'm gonna say pack is equal to the player itself. And here, once we receive this, we no longer need this. Once we receive that, I am going to say my id is equal to, when we have my player, we no longer need my id anymore. I'm gonna say player is equal to data.pack. I'm gonna save, refresh. We have error. My id is not defined on 43. On 43, my id is equal to translate. Yeah. The player dot x exist. We can check that. Alright, it's gonna be simple player. No, my player. I'm gonna copy this line and I'm gonna go here. This should be player. And then I'm gonna check if the player exists. It is not going to be like that. I'm gonna delete this. I'm not gonna initialize it. Refresh. Yes, it's working, but this line isn't. My player id is equal to 0. If my player dot id is not equal to 0, then I'm gonna translate. Let's see. We have error, cannot access id properly. My player dot id, it should be for my player and the pack. Alright, alright. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't done something here. I'm gonna make it simple. I'm gonna go back just. Alright. Nothing is changed. I'm gonna show you something. I'm checking if player.id is not equal to 0. And here I said, okay, my player ID is 0. And after that, I set the package to the player. I'm just going to console.log this my player. I'm gonna see what that is. Undefined, of course. This is not going to be your ID anymore. This is going to be your init pack. Yeah, your init pack. X of the undefined, yes. So ID is equal to 0. If my player.id is not equal to 0, do this, and this should not be location. It should be dot x. I'm gonna create a new player for that. Yeah, why not creating a new player for that? So in your init pack, I'm instead of saying that data.pack, I'm going to create a new player with that data. Data.pack, data.void. What is happening here? Let me check. Oh yeah, I have thinked a little bit, and this is what I have come up with. This should be your ID again, your ID, and we are going to just send the ID. It's gonna be player.id. It's gonna be just that. So now I'm gonna go on the client side. Here is gonna be your ID. It's gonna get the data, and it is going to send. We don't need this anymore. My ID. And the my ID should be initialized with some number that never exists as an ID. And I'm gonna say my ID is equal to data.id. I'm gonna console log that ID as well just to see it. And then here, before we do this, we have to loop through everyone. We have to say for I in players if players I that ID is equal to my ID, then we're going to do that. There is going to be a better solution of this, but I'm gonna just write a to do optimize this section. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna refresh. Alright, we have the ID, and then here I'm going to console log something else as well. Where's my console log? Yeah, I'm gonna console log something. If the player's I.id is equal to my ID, just log something. I save, I refresh. It found no player that matches our own ID. Why? We received a new player. Okay, this is about other players, and we received the init pack. I go to the server side. For the init pack, we're sending. Maybe we console log here as well. Let's see how many players are there. Let's see. Alright, there is a player with the same ID, so why we're not detecting it? So this should basically work. For var I in players, if players I.id, I'm gonna just console log players I.id just to see what happens. Fresh. Undefined. Okay. Maybe I do this. Maybe I do a simple refresh. Just players I.id is not defined. Alright, after a long time of trying an error, I found the problem. First of all, this should not be my player, this should be the player's eye. That's the first thing. And then we don't need this console log anymore. And then up here in the init pack, this is not going to be the data, this is going to be the data.initpack.id. That's it. I'm going to copy the same thing, paste it for y, x, and the name as well. And yeah, we set this, we no longer need to console log that. I'm saving. On the server side, I'm ready, your ID, init pack, everything works fine. You're ready, new player, init pack, new player. Where is the new player? Yeah, there is. Your ID, new player, init pack. I'm ready, your ID, new player. That's right. This should work. I start the server again. Somehow there is another problem. Forward I in data.initpack, data.initpack I. This should be data.initpack I. Save, let's refresh. Yeah! Yeah! I'm gonna open another guy. Still working good, but the second guy is not looking is not seeing the first one. We're gonna fix that. Let's not move. That's a problem when we move. Refresh. Yeah, I'm not going to move. And by the way, I'm going to spawn in a random location, okay? On the sketch, no, on the server side, whenever we're going to create a new player, I'm gonna say math.random. Maybe like that. I'm gonna stop and start. What's going on? Yeah. Another guy is going to connect. Refresh. Another guy is going to connect. They see each other. Okay, I'm gonna stop the server and start it again just to check what's happening. Okay. I'm gonna refresh this guy. Okay, we only have one player and some other guy is going to connect. Now we have two players. They both can see each other. Now I'm going to have another one. Now they are all seeing each other. It works now. They all see each other. I know it was a hard lesson, but yeah, that's working fine. And we are no longer going to rotate, okay? But that's not the thing for this lesson. Now we have to handle the disconnection as well. This is the final thing for today, and yeah, before we go to the next episode. All right. On the server side, we have these guys, and after that, I'm gonna say socket.on disconnect. Yeah, this is a pre-made socket handler again. This is another line disconnect. This is just like connection, but notice that the socket.on disconnect should be inside the io.on connection. That's the thing you should know about. And this disconnect is going to be responsible for anybody who disconnects from the server. We don't need to set the emit on the client side. This thing doesn't have an emit. This thing triggers automatically. Now, socket.on disconnect. What should we do? We should send everybody. We should say io.emit. No, yeah. We can say socket.broadcast.emit. What should we tell them? I'm going to tell them, okay, someone left. who left, I'm gonna just send the ID. I'm gonna say, alright, player.id. And this should be inside an object. Yeah. ID is equal to player.id. And one other thing we should do, I should say for var I in players, if players I.id was equal to player.id, then I am going to say players. This is the first time you're the first time seeing this thing. Whenever we are going to delete an element from the array, we are going to say splice, and then we have to tell it, okay, which element are you going to splice? I'm going to say element number I, and from the element number I, how many number do I delete? Only one, only one. So this is basically mean only one player from the I, so only deletes the I. If it be 2, it will delete the next player as well. We don't need that. Do this. So I'm gonna do it after. Now on the client side, we need to listen to it. We need to listen to what someone left, and the data is gonna be ID. We'll loop through all our players in our players, and we check if players I again .id is equal to data.id. We again splice it. Players.splice I and 1. Let's check that out. I'm gonna stop and start the server, refresh the game. Do we have an error? Yes, we have an error. Player.id, we don't have it, it says. Player.id. Actually, we have it. So instead of that, I'm gonna say socket.id. Because we already have, because socket ID and player ID are the same. Let's see, maybe this solves the problem. I'm going to connect. What's going on? We have error. Require is not defined. Line number 1. Where did I bring this fs? I never wanted to use the fs. I don't. I refresh. Let's. Okay. From the first. I'm gonna refresh it. This is the first player. This is the second player. This is the third player. Let's see if they all see each other. Yeah, they all see each other. Yeah. And then I'm gonna delete the first player. Nothing happened. Nobody sees that. Nobody see that. Okay, let's see what's going on. Socket.on disconnect. We loop through them all. Socket.broadcast. Maybe we say io.emit. Someone left. And on here, the following events should be used when the names disconnect. Maybe I misspelled it. No, I didn't. Forwarding players, we do that. Alright, I'm gonna first tell everybody that this guy is disconnected. And on the client side, I'm gonna check someone left. I'm gonna copy this, bring it here. We listen to the someone left, we get the data. We loop through all the players. Oh yeah, this should be the data. Yeah, I found the problem. This is the first player, this is the second player, and this is the third player. They all see each other. The first one is gonna be go away. Yeah, everybody sees everybody else what's happening, and now a new guy is going to connect. They both see each other. The new guy left, and it works. Thank you very much for today, guys. In the next episode, I'm going to teach you how to send the input information to the server side, so all the movement happens on the server side. All the movement and physics logic should happen on the server side. Also, players will see each other moving around, and we can also give them a name. So every player, the name of every player is on top of it, and they can see each other name, and they can see each other go in a different direction. I know this episode was very hard. I know even for me, it had a lot of try and error. Um, I've done it. I have done the same thing before I made this video, but things happen. Thank you very much for watching. If you like my video, please consider subscribing and hit the like button. Bye.